Hello, good evening. Welcome to another edition of The Weeping Prophet by Sister Philomena. So today I will be talking about scam Christianity on the rise. I know of a place where they have little regard for God, where they celebrate everything that are on Christian calendar, where it is regarded and praised as a good Christian place. Then I zoomed to see the other areas around it. I noticed that it is the same all over the continent. Traditions and legends are paired in the Christianity, where witchcrafts are in cooperation with the church. They are proud to tell you how God is good to them and that they believe that their forefathers are in heaven. There is no difference between someone who practices traditional religion and a Christian, where the legend is handed over to family. Power icons are handed over to children from one family to the other, from one generation to the other, where it is normal to cast spells as you are breathing air, where no one pays attention to the dangers that are being done to souls, both that of children, old people, young people, priests, pastors, sisters, etc. Read Hosea 4 verse 6. It says, "My people are doomed because they do not acknowledge God." You priests have refused to acknowledge me and have rejected my teaching, so I reject you and will not acknowledge your sons as my priests. What's wrong in these areas? Where did they have no regard for God? Why didn't they have regard for God? What do your priests preach about God? Do they really preach about God or about another God with small letter G? Do they preach about heaven? Which heaven do they preach? In real life, they appear so friendly, but when they are in their element, real Christians with strong faith who worship God in spirit and in truth are the target of the day. Read Ephesians chapter 5 verse 11. It says, "Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them." Then the Acts of Apostles chapter 26 verse 18 says, "Reveal these evil acts," when it says, "It's meant to open their eyes so that they may turn from darkness to light and from the power of Satan to God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and a place among those who are sanctified by God, by faith in God." Then, coming to this particular place that I'm describing, at that place, people play God and not human. At that place, who they say succeeds. At that place, who they say lives. The qualification to have a beautiful life at such a place is to be one of them. It doesn't matter if you don't belong to the same branch, of forces of darkness. As far as you are not for God, you are highly beloved and welcome. Spells and incantations are casted and murmured even in the church of God. Buildings of churches stand as symbolic, but inside is meeting of darkness. There are peculiar prayers or ways of worship in such areas. As a good child of God, pray in the Spirit and you are their target, because your light as a Christian is seen. What are these scams in Christianity? God's rules and regulations for worship are thrown to the beans. You base your teaching on legends and traditions. You love to respect and hold onto human rules and traditions, but God's rules are neglected. You push God's teachings to the background and produce another teachings and regulations about God. The Bible says that God is God, that He never changes, and that He remains the same. Let me ask you here. You cast my spells on people. Please, did Jesus teach that when He was on earth? You cast eye spells and visualize spells, and you call yourself a Christian. You cross your legs and set spells on people just because you don't like them. You leave a hot impression on someone with an information for your members to attack this person, and you call yourself a Christian. You steal answers from your fellow students during exams by inventing a channel on their heads to ears so you can hear their thinking and write your answer through listening to their thoughts, and you're proud to present your certificate. The lists are so many that I can't finish them if I have the whole week to mention them. Being a Christian is Christ-like. What you do is magic or idolatry. God hates idolatry. See these passages in the Bible and see what God said about it. Exodus 20:1-8, Leviticus 19:4, Isaiah 45:20, Galatians 5:19-29, Revelations 9:20, Psalms 16:4, 1 Samuel 15:23, Exodus 23:13, Isaiah 45:20, Psalm 135:15-18, Jeremiah 11:12. The lists are so much. So many chapters condemn idolatry. So many chapters also said they are destined for hell. That your friends practice it doesn't mean that you must do as they do. That all the members of your families hold it as family tradition doesn't mean that you shouldn't ask questions and get out. That all the people where you are practice it and everybody sees it as normal doesn't mean that it is acceptable to God. In these areas, the forces of darkness have world order. There is no difference between marine spirit, Jezebel spirit, witch or wizards or occultic powers. They join together to bring churches down, children of God down, preachers down, prophets down, because they want to protect their traditions and legend. When something goes wrong in the parliament or in government houses, people normally ask questions. Then the questions here are, why haven't anyone asked why those legends are practiced? Because magic or whatever it is called is not from God. Now listen. Our God is a good God. He's a kind God. He's a merciful God. The God who forgives. But when it comes to idolatry, God doesn't understand again. Our world is tormented. The people are not happy. Our climate are as if they are on protest. It's as a result of us playing God. On the surface, it is science. Inside is magic, the science of mind and soul knowledge. God has given us the chance to obey Him and to choose Him according to Deuteronomy 28. The tragedy is happening in our world today. justified that we did not qualify for his conditions for restoration and blessings. Meaning our faith, our painful wall, our pandemic, whatever it is called, and more to come are all as a result of our disobedience. No matter how you put it under a telescope, we have all sinned. The judgment for the practice of magic is hellfire. You have no excuses. It is no protection, but destruction. It is a short-term destruction here on this earth and long-term destruction in hell. Read Revelation 21:8. It says, but as for the cowardly, the faithless, the detestable, as for murderers, the sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars, their portion will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death. So my dear brothers and sisters, the Bible says, resist the devil and it will flee from you. That is it from Sister Philomena, the Weeping Prophet. God bless you and bless me too.